Kia ora. My name is Priyesh and I'm one of the partners here at Kura Accounting. And before that, I spent 4 years as a schools auditor at Deloitte, where schools audits made up the better part of my year. So I've genuinely been on both sides of the table, sitting in the auditor's seat and now doing the day-to-day accounting work that schools actually need. Now the reason I wanted to put this together is pretty straightforward. Audit season is stressful. You're already flat out running your school, and then on top of that, you've got auditors arriving with query after query, timelines that stretch on longer than they should, and that frustrating moment where you're told the audit is nearly done and then it isn't. It shouldn't have to feel that way. So in this video, I want to give you a genuine behind the scenes look at how the audit process actually works from an auditor's perspective, and then share what we've been doing differently here at Kura to take the burden off schools. Now we've managed to remove the need for auditors to visit your school on site and ask you questions for around 95% of the audit work, and I'll walk you through exactly how that works in a little moment. In this slide, I want to walk you through the audit timeline because understanding when things happen makes the whole process a lot less daunting. Now, the year is essentially split into 3 phases. You've got January to February, which is when your accountant, whether that's us or someone else, is busy pulling together your financial statements for the prior year. That pack then gets handed over to the auditors, and that's where phase 2 kicks in. Phase 2 is between March and May. This is when auditors are actively working through everything, sending queries back and forth, requesting documents, and generally keeping your team pretty busy. Now the hard deadline here is 31st of May, which is when the financial statements need to be signed off. It's a tight window, and for a lot of schools, this period can feel pretty relentless. Then, once the dust settles and you get a bit of a breather over the middle of the year, September to December rolls around, and the auditors are back. This time, it's what's called interim audit work. They'll often come out to your school to get a feel for your processes and internal controls. Things like how you handle purchases, how payments get approved, that kind of thing. It's groundwork for the following year's audit. So in reality, the audit cycle never really stops. It's just a different intensity throughout the year. Schools deal with audit pressures twice a year, and we see the same issues come up time and time again. Now the first is that March to May period. During this time, auditors tend to ask a lot of repetitive questions, and sometimes they'll say the audit is done when it actually isn't. On top of that, auditors can change frequently, which means school staff have to keep re-explaining their processes from scratch. This also leads to inconsistent audit recommendations. Now the second is the September to December period. Auditors will often come into the school and sit down with the staff to understand how everything works. Now this is very time consuming for your team. They're again asking lots of repetitive questions, and this part of the audit can drag on right through to 31st of May. So as you can see, schools are essentially dealing with audit disruption for a large chunk of the year. It's not just schools that struggle. Auditors also face their own challenges too, and it's worth understanding both sides. During that March to May period, a big part of the problem starts with the Kiwi financial statement Excel. It's extremely manual and hard to follow, which is where a lot of the questions come from. School audits also tend to get treated differently to higher paying audits. Many auditors are fresh out of university, and the way a school operates is very different to what they've been taught. So there's a real knowledge gap there. There's also a disconnect between what information auditors receive versus what they actually need. And lastly, when schools aren't using Xero, it makes that whole process significantly harder. Then, in the September to December period, auditors will generally go into the schools to piece together how the different processes work. And this is a really time-consuming process. On top of that, trying to find invoices and the reason for the spending is also time-consuming. So you can see there's real frustration on both sides of the table. Now let's look at the challenges from the accountant's perspective, because this is where the workload really adds up. During that March to May period, the Kiwi financial statement Excel is again a major pain point. Preparing financial statements for just one school can take anywhere from 10 to 40 hours. Now, when you're an accountant managing, say, 100 or more schools, that really becomes an incredibly manual and time-consuming process at scale. The second issue relates to Xero. If a school isn't using Xero, it makes the entire audit process take even longer, adding more hours to an already stretched workload. Now this is because with Xero, you can attach invoices and receipts against transactions, which makes the audit process a lot more smoother. So for school accountants, this period of the year is genuinely one of the most demanding times on the calendar. Now what happens if there was a way where auditors could finish audits much quicker and in a way that doesn't require them constantly going to schools and asking lots of questions? Now we deal with 95% of auditor communication on behalf of our schools, and this is how we're able to do it. Now it comes down to 3 things. The first is we've automated the financial statement preparation. Instead of our accountants spending 10 to 40 hours preparing financial statements for each school using Excel, we built our own software that allows them to do it in just 1 to 2 hours. Now, that's a massive time saving and means everything is ready well before the auditors even arrive. Now, the second is our software has audit work papers built in. Our software was actually developed in collaboration with various school auditors throughout New Zealand, which means we understand exactly what they need. We provide auditors with the precise answers to their questions up front, so there's no back and forth, no delays, and no need for them to come to schools constantly. And the third is our experienced board members. We have a team with deep knowledge of the school sector, whether that's ex-school auditors, auditors in general, or those that have been on the board of various schools. Together, these three things are what allow us to take the audit burden completely off schools. If anyone has any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us via email.